when we start talking about maybe the company side of things, when you say you're doing kind of fundamental analysis or homework on a stock, what does that actually mean? What are some of the things you're looking for when you're picking individual stocks?
The first few things that I look at when I see a ticker and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting company, let me dive in. I'll look at things like revenue growth. How quickly are they growing revenues? Are we looking at a high growth company? Are we looking at something maybe lower growth that's more of a value stock type of situation? I'm looking at, how much debt they have. I'm looking at their valuation, something like an enterprise value to sales type of valuation metric that I'll actually take, and I'll compare that valuation metric to other similar companies and kind of see, okay, where are we at with this company? Is this company overvalued compared to this? Undervalued? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is there room here for growth? And then, if all of that looks good to me, that's when I decide to dive in a little deeper. I listen to, all of the recent earnings calls, try to get a feel for where management stands, how management sounds. Sometimes you can hear in the earnings calls that management has no clue what they're doing, and sometimes they sound really sharp and really, focused. It's kind of funny. So I try to, of course, not you can't always, sometimes they swoon you and sound like everything's rosy, but everything's not rosy too. But it's just something I do. And if I try to figure out what their growth levers are. I try to figure out where could this company go next? What are they not doing that they could be doing? What are they talking about doing that's going to help them grow and expand? And I try to just kind of take all of that and put it together and make a decision as to if it's worth my capital to invest in it or not, and where I think it could go. Is the risk to reward there for me, essentially?
So yeah, you really get your arms around kind of the whole stock, the company, and really sort of understand kind of everything that's going into it. So does that mean, so a lot of the times, and maybe this is something that's maybe bad or incorrect with our industry, is I think a lot of people, when they think, oh, fundamental investor, you're immediately in like a value camp, sort of like, oh, you're only looking for value stocks. But is that the case? Are you, obviously we all want good value, but
Hmm.
does growth stocks and investing in the higher beta type of names, is that something that you will still do, or is it
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, I call it actually my hedge fund buddy, his name is Travis. Him and I, we call it growth at a reasonable price. It can be a company that's growing revenues double digits or very high rates, but for some reason or another, it's trading at a discount to its peers, right? It could be a scandal. It could be an outage, that happened, and if it's a tech company or something like that. But yeah, I have some value in the portfolio, but I also have some growth in the portfolio as well. And I'll even sometimes put in the portfolio some really, I don't want to call them like, I don't want to call them like Kathy Wood type of stuff, but some vision, looking way ahead in the future, thinking about what this technology could look like 10, 20 years from now. Is it a little speculative? Probably. Do they have a lot of revenue now? There's the occasional name that's kind of in that camp, like we're thinking really long term with this, and I'll put something like that in the portfolio as well, but it won't be a large position for me. Generally I try to stick with the value and the growth at a reasonable price that I can sleep well at night knowing that I'm not buying some absurd valuation.
Yeah. Hey, it's Evan here. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our full-length interview. Don't forget, if you want to hear this entire episode with even more insights from our awesome guest, you can find it by searching the Smarter Trading Podcast in iTunes or on your favorite podcast app. You can also find all of the show notes for this episode by heading to thetraderisk.com/podcast. Thanks for tuning in.